I have to say, my wife, like if sometimes I'll ask her, she'll watch a movie or a show or something. I'll go, "How was it?" And she'll go, "Well, they made sure I learned my lesson." And this is her way of like saying, it was good. It maybe had good things that I liked, but that the people who made it just didn't have confidence in their art. What they thought was, I've got to put it into words that at some point say what the point of all of this is, or I failed. And the truth is, it's when you do that you fail. Like you shouldn't come out of a great play going, man, that speech really summed it all up for me.
That's right.
Like you should come out of a play going, wow, there's a lot of challenging things in that, and that's why the discussion after the play is important.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did I take away from this? So Aaron Sorkin is Aaron Sorkin for a reason.
Oh my gosh. Talk about teaching lessons.
Yeah, exactly.
It never stops preaching at you.
It's all his stuff that they walk and they talk, and one character owns the conservative character, the liberal always wins. But I'll just be honest, he's talented. He's a talented guy. He's good at writing satisfying dialogue. But that's also why I say only Aaron Sorkin's Aaron Sorkin. He can write things that feel very cathartic to hear if you're of a certain political persuasion, or even if you're apolitical and you don't have any particular perspective. If you're a conservative, you're sitting there like, that's nonsense, but it sounded cool. And so certain writers can make something that is really preachy sound good.
Oh, that's a good point.
Again, like it gets old fast. I think respectfully to Aaron Sorkin's talent, it still gets old. But yeah, most people can't pull it off at all. Most people try to write some preachy monologue or preachy dialogue, and it doesn't even get off the ground. I think it's okay to have characters express their values in one way or another. But it's also, to me, it's really important that the audience doesn't feel preached at, or that, this is another thing, they can't feel like you have a self-insert. So what a lot of writers will do is they have the character who is like, they've clearly fantasized about having this debate in the shower at some point, and like, oh, I wish I would say that to the conservative. And then the character is clearly like them
getting
owning
it off their
the con.
chest.
Yes,
that's
and
right.
You can't do that. You really can't.
Well, you can if you're Aaron Sorkin. You can make millions and millions doing it.
Sorkin, because listen, he's very talented.
The problem with his art, though, is that everyone who doesn't agree with him politically is constantly rolling their eyes. So it's not real art.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it can't reach the person who disagrees with you. It doesn't have the
That's
power
right.
to do. Although I will say, at his best, I'm sure he does. He overcomes that, which is that's a habitual flaw that he has. But I don't want to suggest that he always is ruled by his habitual flaws. He has created some beautiful dialogue, some beautiful things. I don't want. So but that moment where you go, oh, I'm getting my lesson now. Like here's like eat your peas. That's
yes,
what you're,
exactly. Well, that's what separates art from an after-school special.
Yeah,
it ends up feeling like an after-school special, and it's really important to us that what we're making spreads a positive moral value without feeling like an after-school special. And the way you do that is just by telling the story, right? You have again, our second episode, I don't want to get too much into detail, but there's a pretty strong theme in there that's reminiscent maybe of what we have with Cain and Abel. It's not like the story of Cain and Abel was communicated by two people in a debate over whether you should give enough to God, and then the story ends with like one person owning the other. Like, no, it's very intense. There's murder. And so you see like the visceral human emotion in that story, which people can still relate to today. But B, it does teach a moral lesson simply by explaining what happens. And that's a really profound lesson. Jordan Peterson would go, that's like one of the oldest stories we have, man, and it's really quite profound, the Quarreling Brothers. But part of why it's so important is because that story, and when I was writing our second episode, I wasn't thinking about Cain and Abel at all, actually, but reflecting on it, I went, oh, this kind of has somewhat of a similar message, because the story I was writing is just exploring one of the reasons why people do bad things, and one of the kind of spiritual motivators that has nothing to do with material want, which is what we're constantly told is the root of crime by ideologues. And I realized after telling the story that there was this kernel of the Cain and Abel story, because people do find themselves very, very, very angry with those who behave the way they know they should be behaving. And the way we see that now, like the modern version of Cain and Abel, is, you know, Cain says to Abel, you have forced me to internalize self-hatred with this sacrifice by upholding these patriarchal norms that tell me I am obligated to make a better sacrifice when I am of lower means and couldn't afford to. So this is systemic violence against me. Like, that's sort of the modern manifestation of that.
Right,
but it's
right.
the exact same phenomena. It's like, you did something better than me and I hate you.
Yeah, resentment.
Yes.
Right, but depicting resentment is better than describing resentment, and describing resentment is better than making a speech about resentment. Like so the real artist can somehow make you live it, so that you identify it and you know it by living it, not by being all the arrows pointing. This is what you're supposed to be getting out of this. This is what you're. I mean, I wish you great success, but I hope that what really will happen is that young people will be inspired, because look, you could get an iPhone and some lighting probably, and maybe a computer to write a script on, and you can make a movie now.
Yes,
And there's probably geniuses out there who are going to make their iPhone films, and maybe they already are. I don't know, but they're going to be teenagers or people in their 20s, or maybe people who come to it really late in life will be surprised by some 70-year-old who was an accountant her whole life, and all of a sudden she's a brilliant director who made. But I just think there's a democratizing because of the cheapness of the technology now. Like, my iPhone is probably better than the best movie cameras of the 1940s and 50s. So
a lot cheaper too.
Yeah. So what people need is to do it. And like you said,
that's right. Well,
go ahead.
No. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. I want you to run with it wherever you want.
Yeah. Well, this is really important because you're right. There is a democratizing that has occurred, and YouTube allowed the infrastructure for a lot of this. The internet allowed the infrastructure for a lot of this. The fact that I'm here today is because I had access to these tools. But I want to issue a word of caution, which is, while I think there is room for optimism, we can't assume someone else is going to do it. Like, I got into this because I knew I had to do this. Like, I knew I was interested in making media. I knew I had to change the culture. I knew all of the media that I was surrounded by was promoting a bad moral message, and even the stuff that did promote a good moral message was full of blasphemy or even put, nudity in it. And so I knew the culture had to change. I knew something had to be done about it. And we've had tools to increase democratization. And at the same time that we've had the tools to decrease democratization, the studios have gotten lazy. And the studios have started producing content, which is not very good. So right now, this is a pivotal moment, and we really have to claim it. Like, we really have to claim this. And I say this because even though democratization is happening, we've already seen this. This is what happened with books. And this is a great book. Trent Horn's an awesome guy. But everyone today has the ability to write a novel. Nobody does it. And when people do make novels, publishing companies are still in control of the distribution. So even if we get to the point where AI makes it so that anyone with a computer can make a full-length film, if we don't have the distribution mechanisms, and if we don't have the discipline, and if we don't have the audience built up, it will not do anything for us.
And is that what you're doing? You're building
That's
all
what
that?
I'm building. That's what I'm building. And so go to twistedplots.com. Help us to make this show. Once we create this show,